Oh, good morning. It's like 4 a.m. I just woke up. And welcome to a day in the life of video of me. Ah. Puppy's not happy. Come on, Bella. Come on. Come on, Bella. Big stretch. One of my boxes stretch day tomorrow. Come on, let's go potty. I always poke my head outside. You see how cold it is? And it's cold. Shocking. It's cold out. Well, coffee. Get the Keurig going. Turn that guy on. Or gal. Whatever you prefer. I guess gal for me. It's out of water. Poop. I need some water. Alright, filled up. Got my tea. And ready, set, go. Do a double clicker on that. Whenever Bella wants it, she's always barking. But Dad, it's cold out. Let me in. Come on. I know. So you always want to make the non-rookie mistake of basically June 1st to May 31st having a spare hoodie or two in your vehicle or on in the UP, because you just never know when it's going to get cold. It tends to just get cold all the time, randomly. So I gotta find a hoodie. Oh, and coffee. I'm gonna fill it up a little bit more. This is my Yeti, and it's coming in with work. So I'm sure everyone's got it. Random, whatever this thing is. Counter. Wow, that hard words today.
That wasn't too bit, dude. Blah, blah, blah.
You always got stuff that you always gotta load up. So, chapstick. Earplugs when I go to the gym. These are the Trailblazer keys, but it's got my gym fob on it, so I always carry those. My truck key, because I'm taking the truck today. And I need my railroad keys. So I'm about ready to walk out the door. I gotta grab lunch, and I gotta grab breakfast. I could go out, but I don't really like spending money when I don't have to, when I can buy more parts. So I have stuff that I'm gonna grab and bring with me to work. So I just catch my lights. Make sure the truck's started up again. Looks like it shut off. I don't know why that is. My Denali had a nice longer relay, or a time on it, but I don't know. Say bye to the puppy. My shad. Don't forget coffee. You know. Gotta get lights. And I clean the house when I get home today. Yes. Yeah, I gotta throw my boots on and I'll be ready to go. So now we've been up for an hour. About to head out the door, or out the driveway, and drive to work. Okay, so for those that don't know, my day job, I work at the railroad, and I am I guess what you call a train master. It's not my technical title at this railroad. It was at another railroad and that I used to work for, and I don't know, I do the same thing. So train master and a DSLE, which is a road foreman of engines. So basically I tell engineers and conductors, crews, I give them orders in the morning, train orders. Say, hey, this is what you guys got to do for the day. Here's where your cars you're pulling, bring them here, load them there, do this, do that, pull these empties, bring them here. Come home, put your engines here. The DSLE part of it is a compliance thing for the FRA. And what that is, Federal Railroad Administration is like the policing government for railroads, and they tell us to be in compliant with certain rules and regulations that they have. And part of my job is to make sure our engineers are complying with the law and conductors are complying with the law. So I get out, do stop checks, make sure they're following safety rules, ride the locomotives, make sure they know their train handling skills, all that fun kind of stuff. So I don't know, I've been doing this now going on 14 years. Started off working at the railroad I'm at, ironically, in 2008. Economic downturn, the end of 2008 to 2009, brought me to another short line railroad down out of Ludington. Kind of evolved there for 10 years. We absorbed a couple other railroads. I was conductor engineer there, became train master, road foreman, and yeah, like I mentioned, we absorbed 4 other railroads when we were down there. So I got to see all over the state of Michigan with a bunch of different railroads, met a group of great guys, still in touch with a lot of them. And 2018, decided I've been traveling to the UP quite often, so made the jump to get back up here on another short line that was not very long. It was only maybe 10-15 miles long and a couple little branch lines on it, but we were doing everything and it didn't work out. So kind of had a falling out with the owners there and decided to take a chance, and they're hired back at the railroad I was at. I applied and went back there as a conductor, became an engineer, and now I'm doing shift manager, train master stuff again. So yeah, I've been at it now here for going in my 4th year. I guess it's good. It's got its ups and downs. It's a different way of railroading. It's not hard by any means, but I don't know. I think it's more challenging how the atmosphere is versus the actual railroad itself. But oh well. So I got about a 20-minute drive to get to work from where I live, and we're up from 4 degrees to 11. Balmy. Other thing I'm going to add today, it's kind of in our off season, so I'm probably not going to be recording much while I'm at work, just because they have litigation stuff with recording and, you know, pictures and all that stuff. So, but you're not missing out on much. I'm just going to be working on, there's only 2 crews running, and I'm going to be working on PowerPoints and filing today. So yeah, it's pretty boring day today, but so I get paid for. So If I didn't do this, it wouldn't give me the funds to be able to wrench in the garage and bring everyone content like I got. So I'm happy with it. So I actually started my YouTube channel back in 2006 or 2007. I mean, it's one of the OG YouTube channels. When everyone was getting into it, I signed up for it. Posted a couple train videos here and there. If you go back in my playlist, you can see they're really short clips of trains and whatnot. Back then, I didn't know what I was doing. I just had a quick little camera with a small SD card in it. And it didn't take very much, and every time you zoomed in, the sound went away, and it was terrible. So I played around with that a little bit, uploaded some videos. I got some private ones that maybe I'll release someday that are kind of hilarious of the kids, but yeah, I didn't do anything with it for a long time. It wasn't even until I moved into my house now I really started making YouTube videos again, and that's only been a year and a half. So I guess you could consider my YouTube was dead for 10, well, more than that, probably 14, 15 years it was dead. So I just never thought to upload any videos or do anything creative. So what got me back into the hobby was before I started railroading way back in the early 2000s when I was just wrapping up high school. I went to school for auto body repair. Really quick note with that, actually before got me into going to the tech center was my very first car was a 1985 Impala that my dad and mom bought me for starter car, and it was wrecked. And they said that if you can fix it, you can drive it. So that's what my buddies and I did. I just did the trade center stuff, so it got me interested in it. Friends and whatnot, we were always wrenching on cars on the weekends and just trying to figure out stuff. And we'd go to the U-Pull junkyards, pull some parts, fix this, put in stereos, all the same good old stuff you did in the late 90s as a car guy. Go to car shows and try to go to the drag strip. And, well, like anything, life caught up. And, car guys we kind of fell apart a little bit. After high school, I ended up working at a body shop for about 3 years. It was just detailing cars and paint prep and little body work here and there. I really didn't get the grips into it. I was like kind of being groomed to get to that point, but it never got to that point. It became, if you've ever been around a body shop for any length of time, you guys know that the fumes flying around and the Bondo dust and just the general atmosphere, it's not something you can be exposed to day in and day out without proper PPE, proper respirators, everything else. We had some training on some stuff, but being as mostly a detail kid, I wasn't wearing my, dust mask 24/7 when I was in the shop. I was just over there worried about buffing out my cars and, the wool dust and compound and everything from the pads. It was that, paint fumes, a whole bunch of other little X factors. I found myself being sick, like, a lot. And young kid, you don't think anything of it. You just think, it's another cold, being sick. Well, looking at in hindsight 2020, I'm realizing that it was my lack of wearing proper PPE. So So I left that game in 2003, went and drove a straight truck for 5 years, delivering mattresses of all things. And after that, I just was getting burned out on everything going on, and railroad's always been kind of a passion in the back of my head. You know, growing up, seeing the train as a kid, and I just started applying at every single railroad I could, every single position that I could, and railroad up in the UP took a chance. It took them a year and a half, but they took a chance. Kind of in the meantime, ironically enough, when I was driving truck, I found when I had spare time on the weekends, there was a volunteer railroad that I went and was volunteering at and just being around, and it was kind of neat just to get the grasp of it and, you know, see what everything's about. And did a lot of track maintenance there, and did some locomotive maintenance too. Not a lot, but did some. But I didn't put that on my resume when I applied up here. And when they finally called me back, I had my interview and I told them, hey, you know, this is what I got going on. You know, I volunteer at this little touristy railroad thing. They move a little bit of freight, you know, and that's what it took to have the manager at the time say, hey, you're in. We gotcha. You're in. So about a month later, I was packed up and moving on up to the UP with the kid's mother and the kids, and we moved out to the Air Force Base and lived out on base, you know, the entire time. The plans were to buy a house up here. Well, you know, as I mentioned earlier, economic downturn, if anyone goes back and looks at history of late 2008, early 2009, it's when we had kind of a second stock market crash, and the automotive industry took a really big hit. And since I was the last on the seniority roster per se, railroading was in my blood, ingrained in my blood ever since, and I couldn't find myself not railroading. So I asked if there was any little odds and ends that I could go do, go work in the shops, go work in the section, and they told me if I wanted to quit and go work at the mine, that was the only real way I would be able to stay with Cliffs. And kind of not really the answer I was looking for. So I had a couple other buddies that worked at the railroad in Ludington. They said, yeah, we'll take you on for the winter. So went down there November of 08, Marquette Rail, and just started railroading. It was conductor. Longest time, summertime came around, I was doing track work, working in the shops, because it was a slow time, and it finally hit them too, but they wanted to keep me working. And I got a callback letter in April of 09 to come back up. And I just said, I can't. If I'm going to be laid off for 6 months out of the year, I can't do that. So I guess good and bad in its own. I mean, I went out and gained experience on what I know now. Kind of jumped the manager side a lot, see the ins and outs, and it's helped me. And it's definitely helped me come back and be able to grow here. But yeah, so I'm thankful for that. I mean, I guess really in the grand scheme of things, all I lost out on was a seniority spot, which even right now I think I'd only be 14th or 15th. Yeah, that's just a number really, and what I would have had to go through to get to that point, what I gained in knowledge and what I experienced going down to Marquette Rail was pretty life-changing. So So yeah, it was from 08, late 08 until 2018, so just shy of 10 years. I was at Marquette Rail. 2015, some GMs out of Muskegon, they retired, and Marquette was absorbed by Rail America and then Genesee and Wyoming, and they basically became one corporate railroad. And the management fell underneath us for Michigan Shore, Grand Rapids Eastern, and Mid-Michigan Railroad out of Alma. So myself and the other train master, we got to oversee these other 4 properties and do the road foreman stuff, and got to travel, learn new territory, which is always fun, run new locomotives and meet new customers and meet new people. It was good. So that lasted 3 years, and then I saw there was another management change that happened, and it wasn't sitting well with me. So, like I mentioned, I was traveling to the UP quite often, and we just decided, hey, I had an opportunity that came up here to possibly buy into another railroad, a short line up here. You know, timing was right, trying to look at another business opportunity. I've been really hammering to do like a brewery or something on the side, just to kind of have my own business, something to fall back on, and wanted to invest in something. So opportunity arose to possibly buy into this railroad, and everything looked promising. So did one of those life altering moves and changed it up, sold the house, packed up, moved. We actually ended up buying up here. It was a little resort kind of hotel, I guess, thing going on. It was basically our house, and then we had like a secondary ranch house that had 4 units on it. We were on a little lake, so it was kind of nice, but like summer rentals, like Airbnb style. And I was going to work at the railroad, and then we were going to invest in the railroad, and that was kind of going to be our goal. Well, life caught up again, and things happened. The railroad didn't pan out to invest in, and we kind of got in over our heads with the units. Some other things happened, and we just moved on. And when you move on from something like that, it's hard. So I ended up moving into an apartment, and kind of during that time frame, of course, before that happened, I took the job over here. So during that time frame, I had totally lost all my interest in hobbies and everything else. And I always had a passion for working on cars. Well, I stumbled on a Cletus McFarland's YouTube channel. So it kind of got me interested again, gears turning. Hey, you got some race car stuff, and, stuff that I'd never be able to touch in my wildest dream. Putting turbos on Corvettes and, drifting and, all the good stuff that he does. So I'm still searching through YouTube's, and I come across Vice Grip Garage. First video I watched was the Independent Chevelle. I was hooked. And it kind of got me back in my passion of, that's what, a reset that I needed was get back working on cars and going and finding these cars in this random place and learning how to work on them and hone up my skills and get them back to where they were. They never really were that great, but I'm learning as I'm going along. So I saw that when I started digesting, watching every single one that he had, and it was great. I think that's back when he only had like 150,000 subscribers, which that's pretty impressive. But he's over 1 million now. So if you haven't watched Vice Grip Garage, go watch it. So the first one I ended up buying that got me interested in, I was like, holy crap, time to go find something and do it. Something simple, something easy to get me working back on stuff. Now, I always wanted a truck, like a square body truck. Again, had one, but so the 85 that I have that's been worked on the channel earlier on and still's in parts and pieces, that actually was the first truck I went and bought. It was a, of course, 85 K15 and 305. It was rough. Went to go pick it up, didn't even have a rear axle in it, and I kind of wish I would have recorded it, but I didn't. Wasn't thinking to make YouTubes yet. So went and bought this K15 and put the rear end in it, drug the trailer, drug it to the apartment, and it sat on my trailer. And I looked at that thing, started tinkering with stuff, got the motor turning over because the starter wasn't there. I had to do all new wiring and everything. I mean, if you go back and look at some of my earlier videos there, you could see how rough that thing was. And it was fun. Came up, I actually had some extra money and opportunity came up to buy that F-150, and so I went and I jumped on that. And that was the second one, so that really just got me hooked. So that was like early spring of 2020. I had these two trucks and the Impala. So I get these, get into my new house, and I'm like, I'm gonna start wrenching on these. And kids were up and they're like, well, why don't you start recording and making a YouTube video of them? And my earlier on videos, you can tell they're not very good. I mean, even these ones aren't very good, but you know what? It's something I like doing, so it's fun. So just started recording. Didn't know what I was doing. Of course, tried to copy and do exactly like what I was mimicking, seeing on YouTube as it was. Didn't work. You gotta do your own thing. So do your own thing. And I just started going at it. That's kind of the history of how we got to where we are now. And then you can kind of catch up on everything else by watching some of the videos. But yeah, I'm gonna keep making them. My subscribers are growing. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. And views are going higher. You guys like the Impala content. I got more Impala content coming, I swear. I gotta fix a trunk leak. I know it's a common issue. I gotta fix the seat because it does a little floppy thing. I'm gonna do that. And I'm gonna polish it up, wet sand buff it. Gotta get it ready for Hot Rod Power Tour 22 because that's what I'm taking, because it's got AC that works. But I'll get back with you. I just got to work here, so I gotta get in there and get some stuff going. So I didn't get to film much through the course of the day. It was just kind of boring. Emails and PowerPoints, nothing fancy, but now I'm on my way home 10.5 hours later. Oh, sun's being awesome. Well, not so good news on the front of the Trailblazer. There's my leak is coming back, so gotta do an axle seal on it. But right now it's nice out. It's 35 degrees. First time it's been over freezing in probably the last 30-40 days. Bella's loving it. We're gonna go walk the trail. So this is our walk. lantern lit trail. It's kind of nice. Kind of quiet. Bella can just kind of run around. Kind of peaceful. Got the wind whipping around right now anyway. Yeah. Say we got probably about 3 feet of snow. Pretty warm. It's supposed to be back below freezing tonight. So this will all be nice and iced over. It's kind of soft right now. It's packed down from the cross-country skiers or whatever, snowshoers. But top part melts down, refreezes, gets a little crust going on it. It's kind of funny when Bella walks behind me and I start going the other way. She starts barreling and it hears she always goes left. Bella, come on. Like that. She's knocked me on my ass a couple times. It's not fun. Come on. I just stand still because she hits me like that. And she keeps going. Frickin' brat. Got the zoomies. Hey! She even eating something. Probably a frozen turd. Gross. That's going to kind of wrap up our journey for the day. A little walk. Wasn't anything much. Alright guys, back home. That's going to wrap this video up. It's kind of a day in life, kind of history of how I got back into YouTubing, where I came from, what I do for a living. I don't know, figured I'd post it. So I'm going to catch some dinner and maybe go out in the garage and do some more filming and whatnot here a little bit later. So thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, do your things below. Until next time, we'll see you later. Thanks.